One of the most frequent questions I get asked is how long will it take my brain to heal, recover, or reboot after I stop porn and masturbation? I am going to go into way more detail in this video than most people talk about. I am going to talk about the different phases of the recovery and healing or reboot time, and I'm going to give some ideas and ways of how you can actually speed up that time and that process. And I'm also going to talk about a few myths that most people have with the reboot period. But first, in exchange for all the tips, techniques, and strategies that I give in my videos and the days and weeks and months I take researching and making and editing my videos, I just simply ask that you take 4 seconds and subscribe to my channel and like this video. That's all I'm asking for. Do it. Do it now. Let's dive in. First, this is what no one ever tells you. You have to first understand your recovery time, and you also have to define what your recovery, reboot, or healing looks like and means to you. Is healing for you just mean simply clearing out the brain fog, or is it to gain more confidence or to feel confident? Is it to have the motivation and energy to become re-engaged with hobbies, or have more focus and excel at work? Or does healing mean something more intense to you, like gaining that magical, mystical women attraction power? Or maybe it means to actually get rid of your porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Possibly healing and rebooting means that you can actually now connect sex and intimacy in a loving relationship. Possibly healing actually means that you're finally able to get rid of depression and anxiety. These are all on a time frame scale of healing and recovery, but the time really does depend on a couple of factors. One factor that comes into play is frequency. Are you younger and have you only been addicted or been using a lot of porn for a few years now? Maybe, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And do you watch it every couple of days, or are you binging multiple times a day for many hours? The next factor is intensity. What type of porn have you been watching? Is it just your pretty standard run-of-the-mill guy and girl having sex, or has it gotten into really strange fetish sex? Does it become something? Are you watching harmful sex or violent sex, or even sex or porn that scares you, like bestiality or incest or just crazy stuff that even freaks you out, but you still watch it? Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't care. I don't pass judgment on any of that because I know what the brain does and why it gets you to those places. So again, no judgment, but that is a big factor on your recovery time. Okay, so let's assume for now that you've actually quit porn. You've put in the hard work. I know how hard it is because most of my videos are dedicated to this. I have an online accountability program that helps you stop porn, and so many people focus on this. But for now, let's just assume you've done it. You've stopped porn and masturbation. You've conquered it. I'm proud of you. You are part of the elite. Okay, so now we're going to jump into some of the time frames around recovery and reboot from porn. And I'm going to address the first myth right here. And the first myth is that life is just all butterflies and unicorns the second you stop watching porn and masturbation. Wrong, and that is not true. We're going to go into that. The first month is a beast. This is another thing that nobody ever tells you after you stop watching porn or masturbation. Somewhere between days 10 and 21, your brain is going to sprout neuroreceptors like weeds, trying to grab that dopamine that used to be there from when you watched the porn and had the dopamine flush. Now you don't have it, so all these receptors are trying to grab it. That creates massive cravings and massive urges. The good news is somewhere around weeks 4 to 6, maybe a little bit more, those neuroreceptors actually start to fall and fade and die off like weeds that don't get water. During this time, you're probably going to experience a few negative side effects. This is something, again, that nobody ever talks to you about. Some of these negative side effects are going to be opposite of what you're hoping for. You can experience increased depression, increased anxiety, increased irritability. Yeah, this can all happen, and it happens for a couple of reasons. Number one, all your brain chemicals and hormones are out of whack, and your brain is simply trying to naturally rewire. And this is called neuroplasticity. You can Google it or watch some of my other videos. I also have a video about doing a dopamine detox, which might possibly help. But your brain chemicals are just simply just trying to figure things out and naturally rewire. The other reason that you may experience these negative side effects is because you've actually removed the porn or the drug that was helping you cope or escape from so many other reasons of and triggers for anxiety and depression. And once you've removed that, you now have to deal with a lot of these things and don't have that escape. One of the most important processes in the porn reboot is establishing new, powerful, strong coping mechanisms to deal with anxiety and stress. So if anybody else tells you that everything's just going to be fantastic after you stop watching porn and masturbation, think twice and really question it, because it's going to be difficult if you don't have proper systems in place. Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. There are actually some benefits and some positive effects that you're going to see within the first 4 to 6 weeks. Primarily, the first thing you're going to see is the lifting of the brain fog. And that brain fog, it's hard to describe when you're in it, but it's that feeling of feeling scattered, maybe uneasy, easily distracted, maybe lacking self-confidence. All these things are part of that, not being able to focus. Once you stop porn and masturbation, that's going to begin to lift, and you're going to begin to see stages and early signs of feeling calm, motivated, more confident, more assured of yourself. So these are little things you're going to start to feel along the way. Another thing that I want to mention through this process is in the beginning, you actually might have wet dreams on a regular basis. This happens to a lot of men, but not all. Do not worry about a wet dream. This is not a relapse. This is natural. This is the brain just doing what the brain does. And do not try to control this or worry about it, because you're just going to send yourself into a more anxious and anxiety and depressed state if you worry about it. If it happens, it happens. You're still staying on track. The next stage, you're going to hear a lot of guys setting goals for 90 days. And this is myth number 2, where people are going to tell you after a 90-day porn reboot that your brain is completely rewired and you are fine. Wrong. That is not true. There are still so many other things that are going to have to go on in your brain to help the healing process, especially if you've actually gotten to the stage of having porn-induced erectile dysfunction, meaning you can only get erections from watching porn and you have a hard time getting erections, maintaining erections through actual sex. So 90 days is a big myth for most people. However, 90 days should be a milestone for you, because somewhere between 90 and 100 days, you really should be noticing a lot of benefits after stopping porn and masturbation, primarily in the areas of energy, gaining confidence and motivation. And that brain fog should be pretty much all gone by now. The other thing that starts to happen around this stage, where most people think is a myth or they think it's just mystical and magical, as I mentioned earlier, is that stage of actually having women attracted to you and just being naturally attracted to you. This is not a myth. This is real, and it's actually scientific when you think about it. During this time, as I mentioned, you start gaining energy and confidence, two of the biggest aphrodisiacs for women. You've also gotten past the stage of just kissing a woman's ass and trying to do or say anything and being triggered to have sex with her. So that is out of your mind. So you're actually becoming more interested in women as people, and you begin to listen and pay more attention, and you're authentic while remaining confident. And that is what women are drawn to, and they pick up on that vibe. So women attraction is very real. You're really moving along now and you're gaining momentum. Months 4 through 8 are extremely important. You're going to notice a lot of differences because your brain is actually beginning to set new baselines, dopamine levels for activities in your life. So you should find yourself being much more engaged in old hobbies, being a lot more creative, and being interested in new things. You might be a lot more motivated for work and trying new ventures. This is all extremely real, and you're heading down that path. This is also the time that I recommend that you go get your testosterone and DHEA levels tested, along with a lot of other body levels and hormones. I recommend that you go to a naturopath or an alternative medicine doctor. They're going to do a lot deeper dive onto the tests and diagnostics of what's going on than what your regular doctor is going to do. So definitely go get that checked out. They may actually recommend that you take certain supplements to further balance and dial in the hormones and chemicals in your brain and your body. I'm telling you, porn is no joke. If you're addicted for a long period of time like I was, your body really gets out of whack. Now you're at 8 to 12 months with no porn and masturbation. This should actually be a lifestyle for you now. You should have very little urges and should never really be tempted by porn or sexual images or anything like that. You should really have this under control by now. I am coming on my 4-year anniversary of no porn and masturbation, so be on the lookout for that video where I talk about my full transformation. And during this time frame, 8 to 12 months, and depending upon the frequency and intensity of your porn addiction, your porn-induced erectile dysfunction should be going away. You should be having a lot easier time getting erections and having sex with women. And it can take longer. It actually took me a year and a half because I was addicted to porn for about 35 years, and I had a pretty big sex addiction mixed in there as well. So it took a long time for me to be able to reboot and retrain my brain to actually orgasm from sex with a woman. It was about a year and a half. During this time frame of about a year or more, you might have actually been able to uncover or connect to a deeper level of purpose or calling in your life. This actually happens. I even say often that purpose kills porn. I have a website for it. And I also have my Connected Being online program that really focuses on helping you find your purpose within 6 to 8 weeks without having to uncover it naturally in over a year. One final time frame around your healing recovery is going to be somewhere between 1 and 3 years, maybe even a little bit more depending on how severe your porn addiction was. But you will have completely rewired your connection with intimacy and sex with women. You're going to be able to connect with them on a much different level and see them differently in the world. This was a big part of my recovery that I had to overcome, and it took quite a long time. But it's been absolutely amazing since that, and I'm now engaged to an amazing woman. The most impactful phase of your porn recovery and porn reboot is going to be your deep, lasting connection and understanding of yourself, connection with other people, and the world around you. There it is, a full breakdown of a natural porn reboot and porn recovery and healing. It can take years for this to happen. I, however, have dedicated my life to helping men reduce this time frame from years and decades to just weeks and months. Look in the video description below for details on that. So do not wait any longer. Stop grabbing your wanker and grab onto your life and your future. And also subscribe to my channel and like this video. Until then, stay dedicated and get connected.